It's a Monday that has never been experienced before. The first Monday in the year 2022. Well, glad to have you join us. It is the first edition of the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions for a new year, a brand new year, year 2022. Of course, last week, which was last year, was this time last week, I was telling you how we're going to have a fantastic time this year on the platform. It is the pinnacle of all discussions, part of our morning show right here, the one we call Morning Spice. We deal with those issues for you, we dissect them, of course, so that you can make better decisions in the nearest future. And today is another day, a day the Lord has made. Of course, we're glad indeed to be part of this year. So let's look at what we have for you. It's a proper time to cast an outlook on the year 2022. So much is being said about the year 2022 already. Anyways, welcome on board. My name is Michael Oni, and so much has been said about the year 2022. So we are going to having thoughts as we cast an outlook at the 2022 vis-a-vis expectations from the political class. The transition process is here, as you know, and governance is about to take a backseat. The year 2022 is crucial, of course, in Nigeria, to the political class and the political life, because we're expecting a heightened political activity. Of course, that is to build up to 2023 general elections, and it is expected that political office holders will be rounding some of their short-term goals and critical projects so as to prepare for transition. And apart from politics, the citizens would be looking forward to the last lap of present administration's silver bullet of solutions to salvage the economy from sinking to an irredeemable depth. The president has also signed the budget with obvious reservations that have left analysts describe the law as unimplementable rather. And this also comes with a dark cloud over the desire of many Nigerians to have Electoral Act amended bill to reflect the reality of modern election process. So welcome on board. Let's cast that outlook. And joining me this morning, let's begin with the economy. Of course, a renowned economist analyst is joining me this morning. Agu Ojukwu is joining virtually. Glad to have you join us, Chief Agu Ojukwu. Good morning to you and welcome to the platform on Flow FM.
Yeah, good morning to all listeners and Happy New Year.
All right, you're welcome. Before we begin, of course, let's start with the economy. Given the shape of things that happened in the year 2021, what did we fail to do as a country last year that got the economy so badly battered?
Well, the thing is this: since the Civil War ended, no government in Nigeria has ever tackled the economy as a system. They have been tackling the components of the economy, doing things that that cannot hold together and allow collaborative action and results to happen. They have never tried to create the circumstances that will allow people to flourish. So anybody expect that last year is just the same thing that Nigeria used to suffer. The system we run in this country throws up dysfunctions and causes more confusion for the people. The system is even making people, even the people in power, to do wrong things, and so on. So last year was not an exception. Last year is just because every year in the country things just get worse.
What do you mean by tackling components?
What I mean by tackling components is this. Let me give you an example. If you want to build a car and you fail to first design that car as a system, so that all the parts of the car can work together in harmony and perform the function you want. If you just go out and you call some people to start building tires, some people to build engines and seats and so on, when you want to couple the whole thing together, it will not work because they have not been designed to work together. It is only when you have designed something so that all the parts of that thing will work together, then you can now start finding a way to optimize any aspect of it. We have never done that in the country, and politicians do not have the capacity to do it. They don't. Nigeria's difficulties is at a stage where only intellectualism can fix the Nigerian problem. You can't fix it by muscle work, by brawn. by singing and dancing and making noise and so on, by promises and so on. It can never happen. And this coming election is a make or mar election for this country.
Okay.
It's a make or mar election for this country. So, for me, I would like to advise every political party that is somebody who is most likely to understand processes that lead to good results. Because if one party has a good candidate and other parties have bad candidates, the gullibility of our people might make them elect the wrong person, and then the state will suffer. But if we have a situation where every party is throwing out somebody who is capable of understanding that you need the collective wisdom of the people to do a good job, and then it now means that anybody who wins, the possibility that something significant might happen will be there.
Okay, Chief, let us look at some of the parameters that defined Nigeria's economy in the year 2021. Looking at the GDP, you said components were addressed, but Nigeria exited recession in the fourth quarter of 2020, and of course the GDP also grew. It grew, I think, about 0.11%, although we had inflation rates going up, skyrocketed prices, plus the food blockade, and unemployment, as reported by the Nigeria Bureau of Statistics, rising as high as 33.3%. I don't know how you want to react to this, including the debt. Nigeria borrowed so much last year. How do you think? What do you think we should do better in the year 2022?
I am happy you said that there were no jobs, that inflation rose, and so many other things, and so on. That will show you the gloomy nature of the economy. And that is what will show you that the job we need to do on the economy is beyond what has been happening. We cannot fix this economy by doing the same old things with more alacrity. It will never work. And I hear people always talk about GDP. GDP is just an outcome. Intelligent economists depend on productivity. Productivity is what we reveal to you if your economy is healthy. Productivity is what will reveal to you if the man you have given a job is actually creating value with the job that you have given to him. Productivity is what will reveal if we're able to produce competitively, so that when we take our products to the international market, we will be able to sell and challenge foreign-made products. When you don't have that, you don't have anything. GDP is a stupid calculation. It is an outcome. It is not a driver. Remember, anytime you calculate your GDP, you show or even the roads constructed in the country and so on, all their costs go into the GDP. But look at what goes on in Nigeria. Roads are being built all over Nigeria, and yet they get washed away within 1 or 2 months, or 1 year, or 3 years, and so on. So that is what we show you, that GDP is a very wrong measure for an economy. But if you use productivity will reveal to you that you must build your roads in a way that will allow them to stay there and remain in service, to give the people benefits in a longer time, which will not allow the governor to build another road. But if you watch what is going on in Nigeria, you see that any governor that comes goes back to rebuild the road that his predecessor built, because it washed away before the predecessor left office. The next person will come, do his own, and just wash away, and so on. So we keep wasting resources and achieving nothing because we lack productivity.
Okay, quickly, let's looking at 2022. Let's look at the budget that was signed by Mr. President in the later of 2021, talking about the last days of 2021. And I'm sure, definitely, you know that that will be the basis of what Nigerians, what the economy will look like if you can cast an outlook on 2023 or 2022 economic wise. Now let's look at the president signing of that bill into law, the 2022 appropriation bill and the 2021 finance bill. So the president made some strong reservations on what he termed worrisome changes made by the National Assembly to the 2022 budget. Maybe, just maybe, in layman terms, budget padding, so to speak. So how we like to get your reactions on that. Can you speak to some of those reservations expressed by Mr. President while signing the budget?
First of all, let me comment on the budget itself. Budget the budgets Nigerians make, the Nigerian government makes, the National Assembly makes, state government, the budgets they make do not serve the people. The people are not in the budget. But you see rural people complaining that government has not signed the budget when they are not included in the budget. Budgets are made to open up capacities for the different types of enterprise industries, so that operators in those industries can actually take advantage and do something greater. But in Nigeria, it is totally out. There is no, if you are somebody who is an inventor and you look in the budget and you don't see any venture capital fund that is created that can help you to quickly access this money and take your dreams, take your ideas from dreams to reality. You are not in the budget. Nigerians are not in the budget. In the budget, you can see civil servants and so on, how they withdraw the money that we spend on here and so on. But the enterprise types, which actually form the basis of the economy, businesses are the basis of economy. And there is nothing that
but we have the lawmakers. We have the lawmakers representing Nigerians there, and they work on the budget before it is returned for executive assent. So why will you say Nigerians are not in the budget?
The lawmakers work on issues. What mean? The lawmakers work on issues that do not serve the people in general. Building culverts and roads and electricity is not economy. Economy is business. If somebody, like I just told you now, is an inventor and there is no means to encourage him to do his research, get out the invention resource, convert it to this thing, he has no business. It's not in the budget. All these countries you see that are doing well all over the world, economies are driven by inventions, innovations, and so on. And they come through research and whatever. But you look at the budget, you don't see it. You don't see some businesses only require you to just make a general policy, and then you see the players in the industry will jump into it. You don't see that. You can finish building roads all over the place, and animals will just cross the road and pass over because nobody has business in that area. There are many governors that tarred their states, and if you go to Akwa Ibom, most of the roads are tarred and so on. But there are no industries. Why? Because what you think brings the industry is not what brings the industry. There are other things that make industry spring up.
Okay, I'm happy.
These are the things that we should be tackling.
I'm happy you've mentioned
industries, you can't have jobs.
You've mentioned the governors now, because we're so much focused on the federal government. But then, economy is also driven by all sectors, from the state down to the local government. So, are you comfortable with the management of the available resources by the governors?
That is what I'm telling you. You see, if you no plan for productivity, then definitely you have no plan for growth. You cannot engineer growth without productivity. Some of these things are strange to people when we talk about productivity and so on. There are things that are drivers. Productivity is a driver of issues to happen right. When it's not there, your GDP will be nonsense. In a country like Nigeria, where nothing has been done, where the business are still virgin, where we have most services are not even being rendered. If you apply productivity, you will be surprised that our GDP will grow at double digit. But unfortunately, nobody is talking about bringing in value concepts into the economy. We're only talking about operating what is there. Sometimes if you are not getting results, like Nigeria is not getting results, you halt and ensure that you created the basis for value adding. Then you can go back to get some of these things done. That's what I mean.
Interesting. So
and you see, yes, our budgets are made by the National Assembly people.
Yes.
And what the national budget and what most people see, most Nigerians, what they see is the physical factors of the economy, not the soft factors.
Okay.
They like to see roads, like to see water, they see electricity. But ask anybody who is in business or a manufacturer, if you ask him what he wants, that's why sometimes you say Nigerians don't know what they want. They can tell you, oh, if you just give us road. Then you now ask him, what business are you in? He will mention the business. If you ask him further, how is that business operating? He will tell you, Madam that they are all dead. You see, the real issue is that thing that people will do to earn money, it is what has priority in the development of an economy. Because you can only do things from inner strength, internal strength from yourself coming outside. not the other way around.
All right.
Nobody decides to invent a plane because the roads were built. People decide to invent a plane because the opportunity of getting resources to make the plane after they have made the idea are there. That is what drives an economy.
All right, Chief, I want to really appreciate you for your analysis this morning. Chief Ago Juku, a former economic advisor to Abia State government and an economic analyst. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us this morning on the platform on Flow FM. We do appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, yes, indeed, we're still casting that outlook on the year 2022, a year that has never been seen. The budget has been signed by Mr. President, and of course, yes, indeed, we're looking at some other sectors very soon. Of course, it is the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions, right here on Flow 94.9 FM, the flow of God's own state. Even as we're live on Facebook, just in case you're just joining us, of course, and you're finding it difficult. Maybe you're listening from afar, you're trying to stream. You can also watch what is happening live on our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/Flow 949 FM. Of course, you can also drop your comments on the comment box session on our Facebook page. So, the year 2022, and probably one of the amusing developments of the season, that's in Ghana. The police service system in Ghana warned religious leaders against issuing prophecies of doom during the crossover service night, just a way of not casting a negative outlook on year 2022 in the neighboring Ghana. Anyone who transgresses risks 5 years of imprisonment, as stated by the police force there. According to the police, those prophets whose spiritual antenna never picks up any other future probabilities other than impending harm, a danger, and death ultimately create tension and panic in the society, thus making those prophecies self-fulfilling. And as the police service noted, the implication of the prophesying doom is that people's belief makes them act on their fear enough to turn the moral panic that attends doomsday prophecies into social reality. While the observation by the police is interesting enough, they might also be ascribing too much of power to spin mischief to prophets, just to bring some amusing perspective to what they're casting the outlook anyways. It is still the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions, right here on Flow 94.9 FM. Let me bring in my next analyst joining me virtually, of course, all the way from the northern part of the country. He's a regular when it comes to economy and also some other issues. He's a public affairs analyst, Lawrence Obiwe. Lawrence, glad to have you join us. Welcome to the platform on Flow FM, and Happy New Year to you.
Good morning, Mike. Good morning to your listeners. Happy New Year.
Thank you very much for joining us. So let's look at the year 2022. Some politicians seems to be done with governance already. Their eyes are already in 2023. And, of course, before the blast of the whistle. And how can the citizens take back the process of governance and ensure that the leaders, our leaders, are accountable?
Okay, thank you once again for having me. As you know, 2022 is almost a watershed in the history of Nigeria's democracy, because it's the preceding year to the 2023 general election. And with everything that happened last year in 2021, very difficult year for Nigeria. So it is expected that the citizens will have to rise up, do all the mobilizations they need to do in 2022, and do issue-based analysis of their political leaders in the build-up to the 2023 election. So it's a very critical year. It's a year that people are going to look at the type of leadership they have had in the past, had currently, and whether that's what they are projecting for 2023. So it's time for mobilization. It's also time for the politicians to play politics. Politics of division, politics of ethnicity, politics of violence. And what has happened in Nigeria over the past 12 months, it is expected that even insecurity will heighten. But it's now the onus is on the government, the federal government, to be able to weigh in on it. I hear a lot of commentators talk about governance taking a backseat. I don't think that should happen for a number of reasons. And there are a lot of states, for the federal government, for instance, I think 2022 will be a defining year for it. I call it, I term it the legacy year for President Buhari and his administration. And I think it's the same thing for Abe for the Abia state government, because if you look at, I don't think that much has been achieved. But maybe for states like Rivers, Kaduna, Akwa Ibom, Jigawa, it will be a time for consolidation of what they have on ground. So I don't think I necessarily see it as a time when governance should take a backseat, but I think that it should be a time for projection, for people to begin to look at what they will be remembered for. Luckily, there are a lot of political adults who are not going to be on the ballot sheet for exactly the position they are holding today. Somebody like Governor Okeze Igbazu will not be on the ballot for governorship. Somebody like President Muhammadu Buhari will not be on the ballot for presidency, except they want to now go into Senate for retirement and all that. So I think that the focus must continue to be on governance, because you have 12 more months to prove to Nigerians about your legacy, especially for those that have not achieved much. But it's time for citizens to begin to do mobilization.
You say the focus should be on governance, but it's so glaring that it is the eve to the elections, if I can put it that way. 2022 is here. So much of intrigues, consultations will happen, and these set of stakeholders that are doing the consultations are the same political leaders, are the same set of people that should deliver the dividends of democracy. And you're saying that, well, we should not kick governance to the back seat. Is that possible? How can that be achieved in the year 2022?
I think that we have a law. Every society is governed by law. If you look at the law governing us, I think it also makes it very clear. I don't think two of them should interfere. Governor Okeze Igbazu is a governor. So if he thinks that governance is going to take backseat in 2022, then he shouldn't have signed the budget that he signed a few days ago. So if you have signed the budget, which is a law and has to be implemented, and every month you're going to receive both your internally generated revenue and the from federal allocation, I don't think governance should take a backseat. I understand what you are saying, that it's difficult to separate the two. But if you look at the machinery of government, the public officers are not politicians. Most of the civil servants are not politicians. The appointed even officers, the constitution is clear on the requirement. If you want to go into politics, you have to resign the present position you are holding. Then it gives you an opportunity for you to go into politics. So naturally, they shouldn't interfere. But I understand the intrigues in Nigerian politics, where you dedicate almost 24 hours of your time a day to political machination and all that. But I think that is becoming very primitive, because at the end of the day, people will hold you accountable for what you have done in office, is not who you have been able to install. The political leadership and history has told us that no political leader has installed a successor that the relationship has lasted more than 8 years. I think the longest will be between former Governor T.E.Oji and Governor Okezi Igbazu. I think that's the longest that you have seen in Nigerian political history. And we know that at some point something has to give in. So I think that as difficult as it is, I think that the political office holders should remember that they are now, and it's also the responsibility of the governor to separate politics from governance. Because at the end of the day, he's the one that is going to be held accountable, whether now or historically, when people remember him, what he has done with his time. So I know that it's difficult, as you said, but I think there is something that can be separated easily, and the Constitution has made it clear.
Lawrence, let's look at the trust deficit between the leadership and the citizens, which is very glaring. And this is evidence in public rejection of some of the policies. Some of their policies, I mean, those are the helm of affairs. So, but their opinions in some cases never counted. I mean, the opinions of the people. So is it possible to get the people really involved in the process?
Yeah, I think it's very possible. And I think it's something that has been tried in Anambra and it worked. And I keep telling people, project is a result of budget. A budget is the whole essence of government. If you look at, there is no political leadership that comes into office that will not do project and implement policies with budget. So once the budget can go straight to the people, I don't think that there will be problem. The connection will be there. And I will give you few examples. I was part of a studying team that came from Kaduna here to Anambra to go and study how Peter Obi was able to endear himself to the people. And it was very simple. It was the fact that every community, then they had about 177 communities in Anambra State. Every community chose a project. They chose 3 in priorities. Then the government takes 1 and puts inside the budget. And these are in addition to the developmental projects that the governor wants to undertake. So every year, it means that for every community, every autonomous community in Anambra, they had a project from the government. So project chosen by them, not what government has decided to give to them. So if you're doing that, and that was why it was difficult even with the Supreme Court to reject a Peter Obi, because he endeared himself to the people. The people saw their leadership. They saw it as part of the society. And we tried it. I know there is something that talk about it in Abia as well, to do a pilot project on it. It's about 3 years now. Nothing has happened around it. So it is not impossible. It is not. If you look at what is happening in the 2022 budget between the executive and the National Assembly,
yes,
it's still the same thing. Why are the legislators trying to put projects, take executive responsibility in passing the project? It is because they know that most of the projects that the federal government under the executive is executing have no bearing on the citizens, and they know that the President Muhammadu Buhari is not going to go to my community Umule to go and campaign, but they will have to do that. So what they are now trying to do is to use their legislative power, take projects to this community so that they can go and face the people. So it's telling you that there is a huge gap between the government and the people.
But the president seems not happy with that, with those changes rather, because he expressed strong reservations while signing that into law.
No, I don't think the president should be happy. He's telling you, fortunately, both the president and the National Assembly are from the same leadership of the political party. So naturally, you should have a policy trust agreement. If it's one government of one political party, you should be able to agree that this is our policy trust for these 8 years, and everybody is on the same page. But it looks as if there is a disagreement between the National Assembly and the executive over even the direction of the country. So it tells you that there is a gap, and I don't think that the solution is very difficult. For instance, if some of these projects we are given in January, for instance, January this year, to the Ministry of Finance and National Budget, to look at how to incorporate them into the budget that will eventually be presented to the National Assembly. It means that by the time it's coming to the National Assembly, it is an aggregate agreement between the executive and the legislator that this is our policy trust for this year. So you will not be having this problem of, if you take the budget to the National Assembly now has the responsibility to now start altering it. So that's on one.
So we can say from your analysis that what people call, or what Nigerians term as budget padding, which is on a negative anyways, as of course digested by Nigerians, may not necessarily be budget padding.
Yeah, I think it's the approach. I think it's and I've just given you the plan, what they did in Anambra State, and it didn't cause any uproar. For instance, if you come to Kaduna, there's something we call community development charter, which is a prioritized needs of communities that is gone to the budget. Now the difference in Kaduna is that you use it to prepare the local government budget, and even the members of the House of Assembly, State House of Assembly, go to their constituency and follow in that process. So once they follow, they take it to the local government chairman and say, this is what my people want. So it is part of the budget preparation process. So why you are calling it budget padding is because they have sat in the National Assembly. The executive has gone ahead to prepare a budget they feel can fit into the economic situation of Nigeria, take it to the National Assembly, and the National Assembly are taking things to be putting inside there, thereby distorting. Because don't forget that your expenditure follow a trend in the revenue generation of a nation. So if you're going to alter the expenditure profile, it means that you're also going to alter the revenue projection. So if you see what the National Assembly and the Senate President was trying to explain about the revenue, you understand that they're a little confused on how to balance the expenditure with the revenue in terms of what they have padded.
All right, Lawrence, I want to really appreciate you for your analysis this morning, convener of Reset Nigeria. Thank you very much for joining us this morning on the platform.
It's always my pleasure,
All
Mike.
right, you're welcome. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Well, that's Lawrence Obiwe, of course, looking at the budget and a bit of governance, looking at the gap between the leadership, the governed, and the leadership, of course. It is still the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions, right here on Flow 94.9 FM. Don't forget we're live on Facebook, facebook.com/Flow 949 FM. We're casting an outlook on the year 2022. Hopefully, today a bit of prediction. Anyways, not the doomsday prediction that has been warned against in Ghana, like I shared with you, of course, earlier on this program. Of course, you can join the conversation. I still have one more analyst to talk to this morning on the platform and virtually also, just before I throw the lines open this morning on the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions. And of course, as we are having that outlook at what 2022 rather holds for us, I'm expecting Ernest, of course, to join me this morning on the program. So, looking at the year 2020. Some key events shaped Nigerian economy in the year. The inflation, I once talked about that. Remember the debt issue, and then in July details emerged. That was July 2021. Details emerged that Nigeria's budget deficit would rise to 5.62 trillion naira in 2022, up from 5.60 trillion in 2021. Anyways, let's move on. I have my another analyst joining me this morning on the program, the platform, virtually, of course. Ernest is joining me virtually. Glad to have you join us. Happy New Year, Ernest. Good morning to you and welcome to the platform on Flow FM.
Thank you very much, and Happy New Year to all audience. I'm very excited to be part of the program.
Thank you very much. So the hope of having the Electoral Act amended bill to make our electoral process credible seems uncertain, looking at what transpired between the executive, even right when it was in the workings during with the lawmakers at the National Assembly, with the way the presidency has treated the bill going into 2022, where we expect heightened political activities ahead of 2023 general elections. What is the hope of Nigerians in this process?
Just to say that Nigerians are really very disappointed. Also speaking as somebody with a CSO background, that's civil society, we in civil society are really very, very worried about the fate of the 2023 elections, because this electoral amendment bill was expected to give some form of credibility to the process. But unfortunately, Mr. President waited for the exclusion of time, that's the 30 days period, before withholding his assets. He could have, looked at the bill that was transmitted to him and then, quickly, say, I'm not going to assent to this bill, and then send it back to them, telling them what they need to do for him to be able to assent to the bill. He did not do that. He waited for the exclusion of time before he now gave his reasons why he did not assent to the bill. So there seems to be some form of collusion by the ruling All Progressives Congress to ensure that we do not have a system, a credible election in 2023 for reasons that I cannot really see. Because if you look at it, this is actually the fourth time the president is withholding assets. Remember, in 2017, in 2018, there were also attempts to amend the electoral bill. In fact, the last one that was accepted by him, he said he was not going to sign because, according to him, it was close to the time of the election. And of course, this time around, he has also withheld his assets. So it actually should worry every Nigerian, and all of us must collectively continue to advocate for the amendment. So we are asking National Assembly to do the needful. Two things are open for them to do. First, either they override the president's veto, or they can actually look at some of the issues that were raised. The major issue is the issue of the direct primary, which according to the president is very expensive and cannot be sustained at the moment. So those are issues that can quickly be looked at. So if there is one critical issue the National Assembly must take very seriously as they resume, it is the electoral amendment bill. They must put everything on standstill and ensure that everything is done and the bill should be transmitted back to the president for his assent. so that we won't have any complaints this time around of saying, oh, it is too close to election time.
Okay, the transition process, of course, we're in the eve year to the general elections, and the transition process seems to have started internally from the political parties, from all indications. So, what is your expectation from our governors?
Well, our expectation is that beyond just the governors, also the citizens themselves must begin to set the standard. I mean, we've looked at the past 3 years, and the good thing this time around is that we are going to have new presidents coming in. The president is not contesting again. The governor of Abia State is not contesting again. So we have had enough time to be able to look at the performance of the governors and the performance of the political parties. So right now we are in a pole position to say, oh, they did well or they did not do well. So what we expect right now is that citizens must begin to craft a new narrative. What do they want going forward? What kind of Nigeria do we want to see? What kind of Abia do we want to see? What kind of leaders do we think will take us into the next level? I mean, Nigeria is going through a lot in terms of security, in terms of the economy. We have a double-digit inflation, the highest inflation the country has ever seen in its history. Things are really very hard. So it is time for us to look at who are the candidates that have the credibility, the competence, the character, the track record that can transform Nigeria. I mean, it shouldn't be business as usual. And 2023, of course, Nigeria has matured. Our democracy has lasted for how many years? 21 years. So it is expected that we have learned lessons. So the lessons we have learned all this period must be able to show in the quality of choices we will make in 2023.
Okay.
You know, our governors are leading. I mean, we need to be able to learn lessons from their performances, and as citizens, we must set a standard. There should be minimum standards in our leadership recruitment process. It shouldn't be anybody sitting down somewhere to say, okay, I just want to contest. No. Leadership is not, I have always said it's not a reward for loyalty. Leadership is not where you learn on the job. People with the requisite competence should put themselves forward. We must put our first 11 forward across, from the presidency down to the councillors. We need our best foot forward. It is only when we have our best that we can now begin to have a semblance of governance at all levels.
I'm happy you've touched a bit of the citizens' engagement in governance. So I would like you to get your reactions, rate citizens' engagement in governance in Nigeria for the year 2021, and what you expect from the citizens in come 2022. You can also drop the anchor right here in Abia State also. How will you rate the citizen engagement in governance in Abia State, and what you expect from Abians concerning participating in issues that has to do with them in the year 2022?
Okay. Yes, thank you very much, and I'm glad you asked this question. In terms of citizens engagement, I would say that our citizens, and especially speaking here in Abia, we are not doing enough. Unfortunately, we have a situation where people have been beaten into docility. People are now quiet, people are now reserved, people have resigned themselves to fate. Oh, nothing is going to happen. If I talk, nothing will change. If I engage, nothing will change. So you have a situation where the citizens who are the real repositories of power, people or citizens who should understand that the power truly belongs to them, they don't even believe that they have they don't even believe that they have the power. So you have a situation where citizens do not even make demands of their government. Citizens are quiet. You have a situation where people go without receiving salaries. You have a situation where workers are paid half salary, pensioners receive half salary, and they can't say anything. You have a situation where people live in subhuman conditions, where death and refuse overtake streets and highways, and people cannot see anything. So going forward, what I will expect from our citizens is that they must be active and alert to their duties and responsibilities. It is the duty of citizens to keep their leaders on their toes. Power truly belongs to the people. So the people must speak up at every point in time. The people must be able to demand more from their governors. The people must be able to demand more from their leaders. Ask your leaders questions. What have they done and what are they doing? Dividends of democracy is not by any means. It's not a privilege that people should enjoy. It's not a luxury. It is a right that citizens must enjoy. Power is held in trust for the people. And a situation where the people cannot ask the people that reflect the place of authority what they have done with the trust they remitted to them is a problem. So people must be alive to their duties, especially here in Abia. And that is why we continually say and we tell people that people must say enough is enough. It is time for citizens to rise up to say, hey, we demand more. 2022 is a year for citizens to demand more from their leaders. People must ask questions. What is government doing with the allocation that comes to them? What is government doing with the taxes that we pay? People pay taxes, and earlier, given the number of market share, a lot of people pay revenue. The question is, where is the money going to? The citizens must ask, and asking this question is what they must do. So don't allow anybody to tell you that you are playing politics or you are not politician person because you are trying to ask them to say, what are you doing with our money? No, it is the duty of government to tell the people where the monies are going. And that is what good governance is all about. Good governance now is about transparency, accountability, and probity in governance. If we do not have an open government where people can ask questions, then we cannot say we have good governance.
All right.
Cannot be
Honest Ofo, I want to really appreciate you for your analysis this morning on the platform on Flow FM. Thank you very much. Yes, do enjoy the rest of your day and have a fantastic year 2022.
And you too. Thank you very much.
All right. So let's have your thoughts. Of course, our feedback channels are very much available. On Facebook, we have Flow 949 FM. And you can drop your comments there. The comments are already pouring in. You can also share your thoughts on our studio phone lines 0808 182 6949 or 0811 605 2949. Also drop messages on 0906 510 8289. It is the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions, right here on Flow 94.9 FM, the first edition for the year 2022. Glad to have you join us. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Michael.
You're welcome.
My name is Enoch native of Okulukumo, Sulu.
You're welcome.
I concur with your first analysis to the fact that the economy of Nigeria had not been tackled. One of the areas to start with is ensuring that there is constant power supply, which will definitely encourage industrialization in the country. As investors, we come here to invest. Local investors will be motivated to invest, and the artisans businesses will flourish. All these will in turn create job opportunities for Nigerians. Exchange rate will increase, but as it is now, Nigeria is a consuming nation, and as a result, there is free fall of naira. Government at all levels should look inward for other sources of revenue generation instead of constant borrowing. As for the issue of prophecy, the government can only succeed if it is threat for the fact that God and the prophet prophesies when God has not asked them to prophesy. If not, the government cannot restrict them whether it is due or not. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Enoch, for sharing your thoughts with me. Hello, good morning to you. Welcome to the platform on Flow FM.
Good morning, Michael.
Good morning.
Compliment of the station.
Thank you.
From Sulu.
All right.
I want to speak briefly on the issue of economy, the GDP. All that is administration, the biggest issue that Nigeria have not anywhere economically. When we are using GDP as an indicator to measure the economic growth, we tend to forget that these indices does not transmit into good standard of living for Nigeria. Our standard of living is very, very poor because the cost of living is almost below the reach of an ordinary man. That is one point. And another issue I want to talk about is the issue of communication between the leadership and the led. That feedback mechanism is not working, and the politicians really left it that way so that the effective communication between the leadership and the leadership will remain dilapidated so that the politicians can always have their way. And that is the reason why we have elected representatives who are not doing bidding that with the institutions.
All right.
That is the reason why the presidency will quickly reject the electoral amendment bill. And also the type of this reservation as people is signing the budget. Even when there's a reservation, it's important that the budget is not implemented.
So I wish that this 2022 will open a new chapter of progress for Nigeria because Nigerians are suffering.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us this morning. Hello, good morning to you.
Good morning.
You're welcome. Ikechuku. Compliment.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
From
All right.
the first point I want to give you here is that we have what is militating against Nigerian economy and development. We have a bad education system. Education is at 40. It's at 40 at all costs. I'm telling you the truth now. You know, as I speak now, Nigerians cannot construct a bridge crossing over the sea, suspending the pillar inside the Atlantic Ocean. And you have to have universities. So we cannot thrive industry. Even if you build much industry in Nigeria, Nigerian youth, graduates will turn out to be laborers in that institution because they don't have the technical knowledge to mount those institutions. Second point is that since after the Civil War, economic activities of Nigeria is like a monopoly. You see Dangote being the headbest the hatchet, import, the sugar, cement, and all these things. If you really want to if you really want to develop and industrialize Nigeria, you democratize the sector. Every person who have the capacity, financial capacity, whether high or low, should compete in that market, like the petroleum sector. You get now. So if all these things are done, Nigeria is like a country who went and bought an aircraft and gave it out to a keke rider to fly. You know the results. So we must the people who are managing our economy from the 1999, the governors, on their profile. Some of them, their direct certificate is a questionable self. You know what I'm telling you. So such personalities, whether they are commissioners and ministers, can never give you the result you want. Have you ever had the electrical fault in your house? You brought on a quack electrician to fix it, and later, unknown to you that this person cannot fix it, you brought the real one, and the person come to your house and fix the electrical fault perfectly, and fix it and repair everything. So if Nigeria really want to move forward, we should look inward, you know.
All right, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us, saying we should look inward.
Good morning, Mike.
Good morning to you.
I'm Victor Emmanuel, and I'm calling from Amekide.
All right, Victor. You're welcome, Mr. Victor. Compliment.
Yes, thank you. I want to talk about politics and governance. Now, political leaders, this is time now. The season has started to gather support from the people about who they will project for the best government of the state. You see what is happening. All that is going to happen now is that they are making money with which to go back into politics. Then how do we do about governance, administration of the state, touching the different aspects of the people's life and welfare? The citizens, like you rightly said, have participated immensely in the politics of this country through criticism, through discussions, and by voting. What is their stake in the government of their state? I want the government, present government, the governor, let's really start from their state. Let them try to look at the welfare. Let them have people-oriented policies that will address the welfare of the citizens of the state. That is what we are expecting from the government.
All right.
When they are talking about projects, and these projects that they are talking about, we know that these projects don't have much impact on the welfare of the people.
All right.
There is further in the land.
Victor.
That is the area I want the government to improve in this 2022.
All right.
Before they begin to talk about how to get people that will replace them in government. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us. Okay, keep those comments coming. Promise Eze on the Facebook page says, I'm really enjoying this program. Stanley Chukwubuki Chukubuike says, I'm watching live from Agbama Olokoro. I love your program. Keep it up. That's on our Facebook page. Okorogene Ayiwe says, Mike, I love your program. Let me tell you, Nigerians are disappointed with both the state and the federal government. Samuel from Agbama. All right, let's get more reactions on the phone lines. Hello, good morning to you. Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, you're welcome. Good morning. Compliment.
It's Mr. Fine by name. I'm enjoying your program.
Thank you. Thank you for joining.
So, the issues about the economy, for me, I don't see a sort of much progress in our economy because of mismanagement. Let me illustrate it this way. So, if maybe somebody wants them back on a building project, then at the same time, the person wants to economize on expenses or things like that. Maybe it's something you should do with, let's say, 2 bags of cement. You use only one. You think maybe you economize them. It may get to the point where the sort of, if maybe a sort of a high a high building or something like that upstairs, may get to the point where it may collapse because of your failure to use the required materials. So that is exactly what we are seeing in the country. Something those in authority should do genuinely. I think maybe it's better for them to sort of use substandard maybe material to do it. At the end of the day, the whole money goes down the drain, and we start all over again. So this is not helping us. So these are some areas where we are facing challenges about the economy. So also security is also contributing to affect the economy of the country. That's my take.
Thank you very much for your take. Anyways, that's how far we can go this morning on the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions on Flow 94.9 FM. I do appreciate you for sharing your thoughts with me and also for being part of the program. Well, we've started 2022. We hope to have a fantastic year, especially looking at every sector right here in Nigeria, from economy to business to politics. So much of politicking will happen this year. Trust me. And you do not want to miss it. So trust us, we have our ears on ground as we are going to bring you all the developments. Thank you very much for joining this morning on the platform. Many thanks to my producer, Samson Eze, for the good job done this morning, and also the guys behind the visuals on our Facebook page, Stanley and Chinedu. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Stay out of trouble. My name is Michael Oni.